Yo, what's going on, guys? It's me, Aaron, with Evolution Daily, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how you can eliminate nervousness and that kind of fidgety feeling that you get when you're out in the field. Now, this question comes from Owen Brooks. What I want you guys to do is, if you guys enjoy this video, I want you to first of all like. If you're brand new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. But then also, if you guys have any questions involving game or just life in general, feel free to comment down below. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of start doing this every single week, just answering your guys' questions. So like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you guys 5 tips now for how to remove that nervous/fidgety feeling when you're going out into the field, okay? And so tip number 1 is to eliminate the awful, terrible habit that so many of us have, and that I definitely have myself, of negative future fantasizing. So oftentimes, we're sabotaging ourselves before we even get out into the field, or before we even go on a date, or in any kind of a social situation where we kind of assume that the worst is going to happen. You don't think about these situations and think about, the exciting aspects of them. And, I could possibly sleep with this girl, I could possibly pull, I'm gonna go out and have a great time. A lot of the times you tend to, again, negative future fantasize. So every time that you catch yourself negative future fantasizing, thinking about, again, oh, I'm gonna freeze up, this date's gonna suck, this girl's not gonna sleep with me, I'm gonna have a shitty night again in the field. Every time you catch yourself doing that, you just gotta stop yourself and you gotta say, hey, listen, I hear you, thank you for that. You're talking to your ego here. I hear you, thank you for that, but that thought does not serve me. That thought served me at a certain time in my life, but it doesn't serve me now. And because it doesn't serve me, I don't wanna have that thought anymore. So you're no longer going to negative future fantasize. Now, your second tip for eliminating that sort of nervous, fidgety feeling when you're going out, this is something that I learned personally when I was doing stand-up comedy. So I would have very, very bad stage fright basically every single time I was doing stand-up comedy. For those of you who don't know, I used to be very, very serious about it. I used to think I was gonna get famous at stand-up. I've performed well over 300 times, something like that. And each and every single time I was incredibly nervous to go up and perform. And so what I did is I looked into, different ways to overcome stage fright. And what I learned is this breathing technique, okay? So I'm not gonna do the whole thing right now because it takes a little bit of time, but basically 3 times in a row, you wanna do this breathing technique. So what you do, and what this does, is it slows your heart rate, it really helps with anxiety, and I found this to be an absolute game changer for me, both with stand-up comedy, and then also when I was nervous for anything really, like get invited to a party, I don't know everybody there, I'm gonna go on a date, I'm nervous, going out into the field, whatever it was, right? So this is the breathing technique, okay? So you breathe in basically as deep as you possibly can through your nose, the deepest breath you could possibly take. You hold it for 7 to 8 Mississippis. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. You hold it in. Okay, very, very deep breath. Hold it in for that entire time. Then when you exhale, you don't just, now you exhale for 7 to 8 Mississippi seconds as well. Okay, 7 to 8 long seconds. So it looks something like this. Now, upon the exhale, you want to have it to where you're basically gasping to take your next breath. You're dying to take that next breath. And then you do it again 3 times in a row. All right? Now, this is very, very powerful. Okay? This is very, very powerful breathing technique. I learned this from some sort of like meditation teacher or something that I found online. Very, very powerful move, and it's going to, really, really help you to overcome that kind of nervous, fidgety feeling you feel in any kind of social situation. Now, tip number 3 is something that I talked in depth about in a video that I did where I talked about eliminating anxiety and depression without medications. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead, if that's something that interests you, I'll go ahead and I'll link that here at the end of this video so you guys can check that out. But, we're living in a culture now, in a society where, we're so addicted to our phones, to computers, to the dings. Did the girl text me back? You got a new Tinder notification, your Snapchat's going off, Instagram, what's going on? You're so addicted to the cellular device and to your technology. And what that causes your brain to always be in this constant state of next, what's going on here, what's going on there? And for me personally, I found that it's incredibly beneficial for me to take phone breaks. So this will look something like, me going on a hike, or me, going out, even just like running errands without my phone, which I know you could end up, flat tire. What do you do? Whatever. Use your resources. What did they do in the 80s and any time before that, right? So really just trying to do things without your phone and kind of breaking away from, not being in that moment, because that's what's happening when you're, if you're sitting on a beautiful park bench, or, you're at a party even, and you're sitting there on your phone, you're trying your hardest to be anywhere but there in that moment. And so what that's going to do is that's going to train you to not be comfortable in moments without that escape, right? So you want to sort of, do your absolute best to try to kind of break out of this addiction that we have to just the constant pings, the constant dings going off on the phones, texting people that aren't there, and really learn to enjoy yourself in the moment that you find yourself in. And what that's going to do is that's going to make you more comfortable in any moment, and thus really, really help to eliminate that nervousness or that fidgety feeling. Now, tip number 4, a little similar to what we just talked about, but different as well. Again, our culture, our society, we become products of our environments, and our culture is absolutely obsessed with stimulants. I myself struggle with this regularly, going overboard on coffee, okay? I've been sober from alcohol for 2.5 years or so I don't struggle with that anymore, thank God. But, caffeine is one that I really, really battle with. I will, instead of just having, 1 to 2 cups a day, especially if I'm working really hard on Evolution Daily related things, just got a lot going on, I will down coffee. What that does is that causes adrenal fatigue, which makes you just more and more and more tired when you don't have that coffee. And when you're more tired, people talk about, and I'm going to talk about this in a second, the anxiety that can be caused by drinking too much coffee. But also, I find that when I have bad adrenal fatigue from drinking way too much coffee all the time, and I'm at that place where I need coffee, then I don't feel like I have my wits about me, and that makes me just not really enjoy situations more, and thus be a little more nervous. Like, okay, so I'm gonna go hang out with these people, or I'm gonna go out and game, but I'm really, really tired. I'm not in the mood. You need to have energy in order to feel, excited about things, in order to want to do something. It's like if you're really, really tired and your friend invites you to go do something physical. Hey man, you wanna go play some basketball? You're not like, yeah, totally, when you're laying there like, I just wanna watch Game of Thrones, right? So when you're tired all the time, you're not excited about things, and so that's going to make you more nervous to have to go and do those things. It feels like more work, more effort, as opposed to really, really enjoying yourself, right? So really try to limit yourself on the caffeine, have self-discipline. I mean, if you can just totally, not drink coffee at all, then I'd recommend that. But, for me, that's just not, I don't know, like maybe somewhere along the lines of my evolution, I'll be able to reach that place where I can do that. But, for right now at least, I'm trying to, my absolute hardest, to limit myself to 1 to 2 cups a day of caffeine, of coffee. And also too, coffee, like I said a second ago, really, really does stimulate anxiety. Just look it up. I don't want to get into all the science of it, because quite honestly, I don't really fully understand all the science of it. But caffeine has been proven time and time again to not only, to really amplify already existing anxiety that you might have, but then also to just straight up create it. That's the big fidgety, nervous kind of feeling, that'll really stimulate you to feel that. So really, really try to work heavily on eliminating caffeine altogether if you can, or just really, really making sure that you moderate it, so that way your natural energy levels are where they need to be when you don't have caffeine, you don't have coffee. You'll live a much fuller and happier life. All right, guys, now I'm going to share my last tip with you for eliminating, nervousness, fidgety kind of feeling. If you guys enjoyed this video and you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up. And also, like I said, if you have any questions for me about game, pickup, your life in general, just life advice, stuff like that, I really want to start answering your guys' questions directly here on the channel. So leave a comment down below asking any kind of question, and I'll probably end up making a video addressing your question. So my 5th and final piece of advice for eliminating that kind of nervousness is immersion, okay? So the idea of immersion therapy, right? Somebody's afraid of snakes. Well, we're gonna put you under a glass table and we're gonna throw a bunch of snakes on it, right? That's not that common, but that's kind of the idea. And then by being immersed in that thing that you're so afraid of, then you can become more comfortable with it, right? Somebody that's afraid of flying, I mean, I'd reckon to say that if you threw them on 10 flights and each of the flights landed successfully, they're probably gonna be less afraid, right? So for me, you know, I go out and I do game all the goddamn time. However, there's still a little part of me when I'm in a new bar or in a new city or something where I just feel a little less at ease, right? You know, if I'm going to the same spots I go to all the time, the same day game spots, the same night game spots, then I'm comfortable, 100% comfortable, 100% good to go, right? So for you guys, you know, if that's just my example for traveling, but you know, for you guys, if you're not gaming that much, if you're not doing a lot of day game, you're not doing a lot of night game, you know, you're not finding yourself on a lot of dates, then yeah, you're gonna be very, very nervous for these situations. So what you have to do is you really have to power through that period of uneasiness where, you know, it's kind of hard to go out and do this. And I'm telling you guys, if you're watching this video right now and you're serious about getting good at game, whether it's day game or night game, if you're serious, it's not enough to do it once a week. It's just not. It's not enough to do it once a week, okay? So you have to be going out several times a week, getting used to these situations, and by getting used to these situations, you're gonna feel more comfortable in these situations, and thus you're gonna have far less issues with the nervousness and that kind of fidgety, anxious feeling that you may be experiencing right now. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys have any questions for me, leave them down in the comments below. Like this video, make sure you smash that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Even hit the bell. I mean, I upload really good videos. If you hit the bell, you'll get notified when I upload those videos. So thank you guys very much for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next video.